Rhy, thanks for coming in today. You've been on Talking Tigers before?
No, I haven't.
Welcome.
Been looking forward to it. I must admit I was dozing off to sleep last night and I got a text message from an unknown number and it was Brenton actually said,
Right.
bring your mouth guard tomorrow.
Oh, look out. You've been stalking Rhy.
Yeah. We just have to get him prepared.
Excellent.
I do see him at a few of the talent games. He's calling
that's right.
on commentary. And so I met at Preston City Oval. Yeah. I went and sat near him because he knew more about the players than I did. So
he rates himself.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah.
And
I have to rate myself, so no one else does.
And he was all over Tom Sims. This is about midway through last year. So he's got a good eye.
Well, that's a good segue. How did you see this draft class? I think most of us think it was pretty positive and saw positives in all of the players that debuted. 9 debutants this year.
Yeah. I was a really big year last year, enormous, and sort of as the year played out, we got more of an understanding of what the trade might look like for us, and then, post-trade period, having those top 8 picks in the first 24 was really exciting, and we probably knew from quite a way out that it was a strong draft. Francis Jackson, who does our futures and sort of rates the drafts in the 16th, 17th year, we were strong that it was a pretty strong draft. So it was always part of our strategy to try and get in, but then to get in the way we did with the players leaving, we were really excited going into the year. And then it was sort of a draft where you couldn't really miss. Like all the clubs that had picks in that top 20 or 30 have all done pretty well. So I think most clubs would walk away. Their fans and their recruiters and their people would think that they hit it last year's draft. And we're really happy with the boys that we got. And it's been so exciting to watch them play. I was lucky enough to sit in the coach's box round 1 and just to watch the impact that Harry with that that big body collision on Hollands, and then Sammy kicking his goal, and watching Train go out and play like a bit of a veteran in round 1. We knew we'd pick some guys that could come in and impact straight away. So it's been an exciting watch.
Obviously, we haven't seen Josh Miley yet. What can supporters look forward to with him?
Yeah, I think they got a taste.
A little bit. Yeah.
Even in the pre-season, we come back and we watch the pre-season training, and he's probably the one that looked the most ready to go early in that pre-season. And I think you guys might have posted the clip of his fend off on Hugo, and which Hugo wasn't too happy about that. But,
was a good fend off.
Yeah, and Hugo's been in the system for a long time. He's a strong boy, and Josh, he showed his capacity pretty early. We just haven't, he just hasn't had any continuity. But we rate Josh really highly. We're really excited to bring him in. We'd been watching him for 3 years. Everyone knows his profile. I think he's up to sort of 196 centimetres.
So he's still growing.
He's still growing.
Yeah.
And we're just taking it really conservatively with him. And I know Ben Serple's spoken to the fans about what it looks like, and we all would have loved to have seen him more, but needs to listen to his body, and we're setting him up for long-term success. So, he's obviously a player that we rated really highly and still do. And I'm expecting him to have a really strong pre-season and come out and show the fans what he can do early next year.
Jimmy Bartel touched on this on Footy Classified, and it's something that's struck me during the year as well, is the point of difference we have with our picks that came in last year. Even with our tools, like Sims, Full and Armstrong, the key forwards forward of the ball, but they've all got a point of difference and seem to be, even with the short stint we've seen, being able to mesh together really well.
Yep. It's interesting. When we go to the houses and we interview the kids, and we ask them a lot about the other kids in their draft class, and that's a little bit about how they interact with teammates and who they like playing with and how we think they'll fit in. And we asked Simsy who his favourite forward to play with, and he said Harry. And then Harry said that his favourite to play with was Simsy, and they obviously had some success at Vic Metro level.
Yeah.
And they are a little bit different. Like Simsy's more contest, long down line, high numbered pack, and Harry's a little bit more mobile and can get up and get on the lead. And then you throw Jonty into that mix, and I think everyone loves playing with John. How combative he is, and his running capacity is really high. So we looked at that and thought the three of them could work together long term, but then for them to be mentored by Lynchy and for him to sort of teach them some nuances along with our our coaches and our forward group, and we think that's going to set them up to success. And you don't want to forecast too much in advance, but you look at Adelaide and what they've been able to do, and they've got the three-headed monster, I think the media are calling it, and I love watching those three go to work, like Tex and Fogarty and Thilthorpe. So yeah, the boys have got a lot of work to do, and it'll come down to how hard they train and their work in the gym. But we think they can work together, and they've all had some moments this year.
Do you see Simsy developing into a ruckman more than a forward?
Yeah, we're open to both, and that's sort of why we were so excited to pick him. And at times for the Knights last year, he was playing as a ruck, and then other times he played exclusively as a forward, and we think he's got that flexibility. We'd probably select him as a forward ruck rather than a ruck forward, but he's certainly got capacity to go in there, and he was forced to at times this year, and he did a reasonable job. And you're still sort of, I guess, learning about the players once you've brought them in. Like we drafted him, he was 200 centimetres, but there's still a little bit of expectation they could grow and they could keep developing. Yeah. So, we're open to him playing ruck, but also see him as someone who can really impact forward as well.
So, Rhy, we go into this year's draft and a couple of really high picks again, depending on what happens with compensation and the like. But at the moment, 2 and 3.
Yep.
So it's an exciting time. What's this draft looking like for you?
Yeah, and I promised myself if I was to go on here, I'd give our team a really good shout out. Like we are a recruiting team, and I've been so lucky to come into this club and this environment. And the team's really got to work. Last year was an enormous year, and couldn't be prouder of the way the group worked then. But then, basically, as soon as the draft was done, we had a little bit of a break, and then, the guys hit the ground running with some vision, and looking at what we thought was the top end and their bottom age years, and so I feel really prepared for what the upcoming draft class looks like, and it's exciting to have pick 2 and 3. Like, some recruiters that go through their whole careers. And I've been blessed to come into Richmond at a time when, we obviously, my first year was 2023 and we had a couple of later picks with Kane and Liam, but then, last year it sort of took off, and to be in and around the club then and be in the recruiting team and have those 8, and then, to have 2 and 3, like you feel blessed to go and watch the best players and go to their houses and watch them and, know that you're a strong chance to get those players. It's been a fun year, and we're looking forward to whoever it is that we end up picking, bringing them in and adding to our talent mix.
At that end of the draft, so we look at the top end of the draft. What are the type of players that you foresee in that group that I think what are the traits that really stand out with the top end this year? Yeah,
it's a little bit more even, and I think it's well documented that it is a little bit more compromised. Like there's some really good boys in that Ally squad that are tied to clubs. There's some father sons that have been playing some really good footy. But that's exciting to watch them, and you watch them, and essentially what we do is just rate the players as per they're in the open pool, and if they're if they're at the top of our order, we look to bring them in and bid on them, and it's up to the club to match them. But then there's some guys in the open pool that are playing some really good footy as well. So I guess like every year there's a mix. There's some tall players that have really emerged, in the last sort of year and a bit that probably weren't on the scene in this draft in the 16s. And then there's some mids. There's some guys that have been really consistent from 16s through to 18s. And there's a little bit of speed at the top end as well. So, we're excited by whoever it is that we end up bringing in.
Yeah, we've got a potential father-son this year in Louis Callaway.
Yep.
He's been going okay.
He has. And obviously I was lucky enough to be around the club when Dunk was playing, and Richo was in that side as well. And we've all got so much admiration for Dunk and the way that he played, and he was really a heart and soul player in that team for a very long time. So, we've tracked Louis really closely, out of respect for Dunk, but also being a father-son, and he's proven himself to be a real prospect. Remember watching him up in the Gold Coast as a 16 in that 16s carnival, and he acquitted himself really well. I went out to Adelaide Oval to watch him in the 16s grand final and played a good game there. And then we've been tracking him sort of for the last 2 years. So we've been lucky enough to have him in at the club and doing some work over the pre-season. It's a little bit challenging because he's based in Adelaide, and other clubs where the players right on your doorstep, you can get more access. But Louis is so mature and meticulous that he's getting all his work done over there, and what we do with him in here at the club when he comes over is a little bit of icing on the cake. So, it's been a pleasure to watch Louis and work with him, and he's acquitted himself really well.
And you keep Dick Daffy's son as well down at Geelong College, Manfred,
Geelong College.
He's going well. He's next year, obviously.
Correct.
And Leesy's boy too.
Leesy's boy as well. And it's really romantic, the father-son, and I think particularly for me, because Dad was coaching in that era, I grew up watching those guys and knowing them. So, to see their sons and even some of the way that they move, they look very similar.
Yeah.
So, I really do like the rule. I think it's great. I think it's the fans really enjoy it. And what we do is we just judge those players like everyone else in the pool, and you obviously get a 10% discount at the draft. And we take all that into consideration and assess them like everyone else. I do feel for the kids sometimes with a father-son, and not to go too far down the line on this, but there's so much media attention on them now from
the
a young
expectation.
age. Archer's still learning about his footy and who he is, and he's cracked into the Geelong Falcons side, but every now and then you see articles about him and stuff like that. So I think those boys are equipped to handle it, but I worry about the media attention that goes on them at such a young age.
Just from an NGA perspective, Tanner Armstrong seems to be he's over in Adelaide, isn't he? And he seems to be acquitting himself pretty well.
He's at Scotch College over here.
Yeah,
So
okay.
he's Murray Bushrangers kid, but he's moving over to Scotch College, and we're lucky enough that Joel Garner, who's our Indigenous player development manager, was captain of Scotch College and spent some time there. So we've got a bit of a connection there, and Tanner's similar. He's done a lot of work in our program, as did Cody Walker, who's very similar, really close with Tanner and good friends. So those boys were coming in at a young age and spending time not only in the footy program but in our Indigenous programs as well. So Tanner's had a super consistent year. He's so competitive, and even in the final on the weekend, like, he was holding his own against some top age players and playing really well in the midfield. So he's one we've watched really closely also.
And Rhy, is there a chance that we might split those picks, the early picks?
Yeah, I think everything's on the table. And as I said earlier, when you have really early picks, it really opens up all your options. So I guess our role as a recruiting team is to assess the whole pool, and you don't want to rest on your laurels and think that you're just picking up the top end, because you never know what will happen come trade time, and if we get offers to split, and we just assess the entire pool and do our ratings, and then depending on what our ratings look like and what clubs offer, there's always possibilities. So my role and the team's role is really just to assess the whole talent pool and let Blair do his magic, and work through what it could look like come draft night. I think when Blair was on with you guys at the end of last year's draft, he spoke about our mock draft, and we look at all the scenarios. So there's a lot of planning that goes into it. So we're open to that, but also when you hold pick 2 and 3 and you've got access to the best talent in Australia, you're also keen to pick at that end of the draft as well.
So you've got a meeting today, I believe, and Francis will be there, Francis Jackson. He's been around forever.
Yep.
Is he just the man that just rules with an iron fist at these meetings?
He's good, Frank. He's obviously a grandpa now, and he's
what's he mellowed out a bit,
he's
has he?
mellowed a little bit, yeah. He's living down the beach, and we're so lucky to still have Francis on board.
Absolutely.
He's one of the greatest recruiters of all time, and he wouldn't like me saying that, but his track record speaks for itself. And even for me, coming into this role for the first year, I've spent time with Blair, which has been amazing. Matty Clark, who's at Richmond for 15 years. Chris Toche came in last year, and him and I worked really closely together. And then to have Francis also working in the team, I've been surrounded with some amazing mentors, and you learn something different from all of them. And to keep Francis on board and keep working away has been really special. And then to have Ollie Grant, who I think the fans would know a lot about now, given his work in the VFL
Gets
program.
pumped up, big time.
Yeah,
Pumped up.
and as he should. He's worked so hard, Ollie. And there was periods there, particularly last year with what happened with Chris, and Ollie was running the VFL program, but then also doing recruiting work as well. So he brings a real different look at it, and he's younger and he's great with technology, and he's really hungry. And then we got Sammy Cousins over in WA, who's been with us for 15 years as well now. So he's full time. He's our WA SA manager. Him and I speak on the phone probably 5 or 6 times a day. I don't know how much his wife appreciates me calling him at all hours, and sometimes I forget he's in WA, so I call him at 8 a.m. and he answers the phone. And so we've got such an experienced team, and to have Frank there as well, sort of mentoring, has been fantastic.
Well, Giesch, thanks for coming in. Good luck with the upcoming draft and everything else around the trade and all of that. Say good day to Jeff as well.
I was going to mention on this, you might not remember this, but I think it was the end of 1997 or 98 when Dad took over.
Yeah, that's right.
97,
end of 97.
97,
Yeah.
but I was sitting on the couch at home, and Dad said to me after the season, "Do you want to come in and see Richo in hospital? And I said, yeah, I'd love to. And Richo was one of my favourites. And we got in there, and I reckon you had a plate in your cheek. You'd had your knee repaired. You had your shoulder. You were like the hospital meme where the guy's got 2 arms. And, I always talk to Dad about that. And, yeah, I got a lot of access to the behind-the-scenes stuff. It probably taught me from a young age how brutal the game is.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at Simsy the other day, his elbows.
People don't realise sometimes. Yeah.
It is,
And our young boys have been through it this year, and I think it's a really good reminder to us the resilience that it takes to play AFL footy. And that'll hold those guys in really good stead.
Yeah.
So, I'll
Say good day to him.
yeah, I will. He loves you, and you're one of his favourites.
Actually, Dave Hughes found out what it's like.
didn't he? That's right. Yeah.
So, Geesh, thanks very much for your time
no
today.
worries, guys.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me on.
Thanks.
Thanks, Giesch.
Thank you.